Breaking: Man United finally get their man Bryan Mbeumo deal agreed. The news that Manchester United fans have been waiting for is finally here. After weeks of back-and-forth negotiations, United have struck a deal with Brentford for Bryan Mbeumo. The 25-year-old winger is set to become United's second summer signing, and this could be the move that changes everything for Ruben Amorim's attack. But what does this deal really mean for United? How much are they paying? And why did Mbeumo choose Old Trafford over other big clubs? Let's break down everything you need to know about this massive transfer breakthrough. The deal that almost didn't happen. Getting Bryan Mbeumo wasn't easy for Manchester United. In fact, it almost didn't happen at all. The journey to this agreement shows just how determined United were to get their man, and how much they believe he can transform their attack. United's first offer was worth £55 million, 45 million upfront plus 10 million in add-ons. Most fans would think that's a huge amount for a Brentford player, but Brentford said no. They weren't being difficult for the sake of it. They had a very specific reason for rejecting that offer. The Cunha comparison. Brentford wanted a fee similar to what United paid for Matheus Cunha. Remember, United triggered Cunha's £62.5 million release clause with Wolves earlier this month. Brentford's logic was simple. If United think Cunha is worth £62.5 million, then Mbeumo should be worth something similar. This wasn't unreasonable when you look at the numbers. Mbeumo had 20 goals and 8 assists this season, one of the best attacking returns in the Premier League. Only Mohamed Salah, Alexander Isak, and Erling Haaland scored more goals than him in England's top division. Compare that to United's current attackers. No player in Amorim's squad even reached double figures for goals this season. Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee, United's main strikers, managed just 7 goals between them. 7 goals from 2 strikers across an entire season. That tells you everything about why United needed Mbeumo so badly. The second offer that sealed the deal. After their first offer was rejected, United went back to the drawing board. They knew they needed Mbeumo to make Amorim's system work properly. The 3-4-2-1 formation relies heavily on those 2 number 10 positions, and United finally have the players to fill those roles effectively. United came back with an improved offer this week, and this time Brentford said yes. The exact details of the new offer haven't been revealed, but it's clearly closer to the £62.5 million figure that Brentford were looking for. Some United fans might think that's too much money for a Brentford player. But when you consider what United have paid for other attackers in recent years, £85 million for Antony, £73 million for Jadon Sancho, suddenly £60+ million for a proven Premier League performer looks like decent value. Why Mbeumo chose United? Here's the part of the story that will make United fans really happy. According to reports, Mbeumo always wanted United, no one else. This wasn't a case of United having to convince him or outbid other clubs. He wanted to come to Old Trafford from the very beginning. This is huge for several reasons. First, it shows that United can still attract top players even without Champions League football. Second, it means they're getting a player who genuinely wants to be there, not someone who's just moving for the money. The competition for his signature. Make no mistake, Mbeumo had other options. Arsenal, Newcastle United, and Tottenham Hotspur all expressed interest in signing him. These are all good clubs that could have offered him different things. Arsenal could have offered him Champions League football. Newcastle could have offered him a big salary and a key role in their project. Tottenham could have offered him the chance to stay in London and play under a proven manager. But Mbeumo chose United. That says something about the pull that Old Trafford still has, even after the difficult seasons they've endured recently. The dream move. Reports suggest that joining United is a dream move from Mbeumo. This is exactly what United need right now. Players who see the club as the pinnacle of their career, not just another step on the ladder. When players join United because they want to be there, rather than because they have to be there, it usually works out much better. Think about players like Bruno Fernandes, who clearly loves playing for the club. Compare that to players who seemed like they never really wanted to be at United in the first place. What this means for United's attack. Getting Mbeumo is about much more than just adding another player to the squad. This signing could completely transform how United play in attack. The perfect fit for Amorim's system. Ruben Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system needs specific types of players to work properly. Those two number 10 positions are crucial. They need to be able to create chances, score goals, and work hard off the ball. Mbeumo fits this role perfectly. He's not a traditional winger who stays wide all the time. He can drift inside, find space between the lines, and create problems for defenders. His goal return this season shows he knows how to find the net, and his assist numbers prove he can set up teammates as well. With Cunha and Mbeumo in those two number 10 roles, United suddenly have two players who can genuinely hurt opposing teams. That's been missing from their attack for far too long. Solving the goal problem. United's biggest problem this season was scoring goals. They managed just 44 goals in 38 Premier League games. That's barely more than 1 goal per game, which is nowhere near good enough for a club of United's size. Mbeumo alone scored 20 goals for Brentford this season. If he can score even 15 goals in his first season at United, that would represent a massive improvement on what they had before. But it's not just about his goals. His movement, his ability to create space for others, and his work rate will make the entire attack function better. Sometimes, one good signing can lift the performance of everyone around them. The psychological impact. There's also a psychological impact to consider. United's attackers have looked scared to take risks this season. They've played with no confidence, no belief in their ability to hurt the opposition. Bringing in a player who scored 20 goals and clearly has confidence in his own ability could change that mentality. When you have teammates who are performing at a high level, it often lifts your own game as well. The numbers behind the deal. Let's talk about the financial side of this transfer, because the numbers tell an interesting story about United's transfer strategy. Is 60+ million worth it? Some fans will question whether any Brentford player is worth 60+ million pounds. But when you break down the numbers, it starts to make more sense. Mbeumo is 25 years old, so he's entering the prime years of his career. If he signs a 5-year contract, United could get 5 or 6 excellent seasons from him. That works out to about 10 to 12 million pounds per season, which is reasonable for a proven Premier League performer. Compare that to some of United's recent signings. Antony cost 85 million and has struggled to make an impact. Jadon Sancho cost 73 million and is now on loan at Chelsea. Suddenly, 60 million for a player who has already proven himself in the Premier League looks like good value. The add-on structure. The original offer included 10 million in add-ons, and the final deal probably has a similar structure. This is smart business from United. It means they'll only pay the full amount if Mbeumo performs well and helps the team achieve their targets. Add-ons usually include things like appearances, goals, assists, and team achievements like qualifying for the Champions League. This aligns the players' incentives with the club's goals. Financial fair play considerations. United also need to be careful about financial fair play rules. The good news is that they've already generated significant income from player sales this season. They've also got more sales planned, which will help balance the books. The Mbeumo deal, while expensive, fits into their overall financial strategy. They're investing in players who can make an immediate impact while being mindful of the long-term financial picture. What happens next? The club-to-club agreement is done, but there are still a few steps to complete before Mbeumo officially becomes a United player. Medical and contract signing. The next steps are the medical examination and contract signing. These are usually formalities once the clubs have agreed on a fee and the player wants to join. Mbeumo is a fit, young player with no known injury problems, so the medical shouldn't be an issue. The contract terms have probably already been agreed as part of the negotiations. Timeline for completion. Reports suggest the deal will be finalized within the next weeks. This probably means United want to get everything sorted before they go on their preseason tour. Having Mbeumo signed and available for preseason would be ideal. It would give him time to learn Amorim's system and build chemistry with his new teammates before the real games begin. Preseason integration. Once the signing is official, the real work begins. Mbeumo will need to adapt to playing for a bigger club with higher expectations. He'll need to learn new tactical concepts and build relationships with players he's never played with before. The good news is that he's already proven he can perform at Premier League level. The step up from Brentford to United is significant, but it's not like moving from a lower league where everything is different. Fan reactions and expectations. United fans have had mixed reactions to the Mbeumo links, but the mood seems to be shifting toward excitement as more details emerge about his quality. Initial skepticism. When United were first linked with Mbeumo, some fans questioned whether he was good enough for the club. After years of being linked with superstars like Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland, signing a Brentford player felt like a step down. But as fans have learned more about his statistics and watched more of his performances, opinions have started to change. 20 goals and 8 assists in the Premier League is an excellent return for any player, regardless of which team they play for. Growing excitement. Now that the deal is close to completion, more fans are getting excited about what Mbeumo could bring to the team. They've seen how United's attack has struggled, and they're ready for anyone who can make a difference. The fact that he chose United over other big clubs has also impressed fans. It shows he's not just coming for the money. He genuinely wants to be part of the United project. Realistic expectations. Most United fans seem to have realistic expectations from Mbeumo. They're not expecting him to suddenly turn into Cristiano Ronaldo. They just want a player who will work hard, score some goals, and help the team play better football. If he can contribute 12 to 15 goals and 8 to 10 assists in his first season, most fans would consider that a success. Anything more than that would be a bonus. The bigger picture. The Mbeumo signing is about more than just one player. It's part of a larger strategy to rebuild United's squad with the right type of players. Quality over quantity. Under previous managers, United often signed players because they were available or because they were big names. With Amorim, there seems to be a clearer strategy focused on players who fit the system. Mbeumo might not be the most famous player United could sign, but he's exactly what they need for their tactical approach. This suggests a more mature approach to recruitment. Building team chemistry. One of United's biggest problems in recent years has been the lack of team chemistry. Too many players seem to be playing for themselves rather than for the team. Mbeumo is known for being a team player who works hard for his teammates. Combined with other signings like Cunha, United are building a group of players who prioritize the team over individual glory. Long-term vision. At 25 years old, Mbeumo represents the type of player United should be targeting. He's young enough to improve and adapt, but experienced enough to make an immediate impact. If United can sign more players in this age range who fit their tactical system, they could build something sustainable for the future. Challenges ahead. While the Mbeumo signing is positive news, there are still challenges that United need to overcome. Pressure and expectations. Playing for United comes with pressure that Mbeumo hasn't experienced at Brentford. At Brentford, if he had a quiet game, it wasn't front-page news. At United, every performance is analyzed and criticized. Some players thrive under this pressure, while others struggle with it. United will need to support Mbeumo as he adapts to this new environment. Tactical adaptation. While Mbeumo should fit well into Amorim's system, there will still be an adjustment period. The way United want to play might be different from what he's used to at Brentford. Pre-season will be crucial for getting him up to speed with the tactical requirements of his new role. Team integration. United's squad has had chemistry problems in recent years, and adding new players doesn't automatically solve those issues. Mbeumo will need to build relationships with his new teammates and find his place in the dressing room hierarchy. What success looks like. If the Mbeumo signing works out, what would success look like for United? Individual targets. For Mbeumo personally, success would mean contributing significantly to United's goal output. If he can score 12 to 15 goals and provide 8 to 10 assists in his first season, that would represent excellent value for money. More importantly, he needs to make the players around him better. If his presence helps other attackers score more goals, that would be a sign that the signing is working. Team impact. From a team perspective, success would mean United scoring more goals and playing more attractive football. They managed just 44 goals in 38 league games this season. That needs to improve dramatically. If United can get up to 55 to 60 goals next season, with Mbeumo contributing significantly to that total, it would represent major progress. Long-term development. The ultimate measure of success would be if Mbeumo helps United get back into European competition. That's the real goal for the club, not just to improve, but to get back to where they belong. Final thoughts. The Bryan Mbeumo signing represents everything that United fans have been asking for. They wanted the club to sign players who actually want to be there. They wanted signings that make tactical sense. They wanted to see a clear strategy rather than random panic buying. Mbeumo checks all these boxes. He chose United over other big clubs because he wanted to be there. They wanted signings that make tactical sense. They wanted to see a clear strategy rather than random panic buying. Mbeumo checks all these boxes. He chose United over other big clubs because he wanted to be there. He fits perfectly into Amorim's tactical system. And his signing is part of a clear strategy to rebuild the attack with players who can actually contribute. Is he the most exciting signing United could make? Probably not. But sometimes the right signing is more important than the exciting signing. United have learned this lesson the hard way over the past few years. The fact that this deal took weeks to complete shows how determined United were to get it done. They could have walked away when Brentford rejected their first offer. But they didn't. They recognized Mbeumo's value and were willing to pay what it took to secure his services. Now comes the hard part, making sure the signing actually works out on the pitch. But all the signs point to this being a smart move that could help transform United's attack. For United fans, this is a reason to be optimistic about the future. After years of questionable signings and tactical confusion, the club finally seems to have a clear plan. The Mbeumo signing is just the beginning of what could be a very exciting rebuild. The deal isn't officially done yet, but it feels like just a matter of time now. Soon, United fans will be watching Bryan Mbeumo run out at Old Trafford in the famous red shirt. After the season they've just endured, that's something worth getting excited about.